Say it to the camera.
I am Martin Shkreli's #1 fan. Number one.
You look like a guy that would be Martin Shkreli's #1 fan. Why? Why are you Martin Shkreli's #1 fan?
On advice of counsel, I invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege to self-incrimination and respectfully decline to answer your question.
Okay. Is this how the whole podcast is going to go? Because this is going to make an impossible conversation, bro. Figure out, like, what attracted you to him.
I'm a sucker for finding out, like, if there's a real story, I'm a sucker for that. Like, if there's a story behind the mainstream, like, what they're purporting.
Mainstream is propagating,
Yeah, I am a sucker for that.
What's
right?
the story then?
He hiked up a drug price by 5,000 plus.
Yeah, so he bought the patent for a drug which cures... I think it's a cure for HIV. Or not a cure, but
it's a cure for a very small section or a subsection of patients that have HIV, I believe. So it's called toxoplasmosis or something along those lines, right? And so it's a very, very small amount of patients that are affected by that.
Daraprim or something.
Daraprim,
yeah.
So he bought the drug. It was previously raised from like $1 to $7 prior to him. And then he raised it, or like 7 or 13 or something. He raised it from that price to like 750 or some crap.
Yeah.
And massive headline, you know, dickhead raises price of 5,000%, of life-saving drug.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? He became America's most hated man like that, like really quickly. And then on top of that, he goes on and starts memeing and he's childish and immature and shit on TV, which I loved it. Like, and a lot of people my age and on Reddit or whatever would have loved it too, right?
Yeah. Unless he
wasn't getting any love on Reddit. I was just reading through.
Yeah, he wasn't. He did an AMA on Reddit. Everyone shot on him.
Yeah.
But he had some good responses, and that's how I like started looking more into it.
Yeah.
Where
what people were painting him as just some idiot that's priprivileged and just, you know.
No, not at all.
Yeah, and like, it was the complete opposite. So I get your point.
He was like a pharma bro, like painted as like a pharma bro, like because pharmaceutical industry biotech pharmaceutical industry is always very, like, people are considered like, because you're dealing with medicine.
Yeah.
And when you mix business and medicine, like, you've got to have some level of
profitability,
lack of empathy, I guess.
And and you're not going to be ethical in all your decision making.
Yeah, and like, you know, they use animals and stuff for testing.
Yeah.
So there's always levels of.
And he became like the poster child for it, essentially.
Yeah, he became the poster child of it.
Well, you can go for like Johnson & Johnson, all these big companies. If you want to target your hatred, those are the right ones to be doing it for.
He would say in his interviews, like, Pfizer raised this by this price, you know, these guys raised this by this price. Why am I the only one getting targeted?
Bro, it sucks for him that he was in jail during the COVID period. Because all these pharmaceutical companies, the amount of like money that they made during that period, he would have been the perfect spokesperson. Like, why aren't you making a big fuss about these things?
You know, he actually put a request for early leave from jail or something so that he could work on the COVID vaccine.
Yes. Okay. And got rejected.
It got rejected.
Yeah.
Is he like a medicine developer or what is he?
No, so he's run several pharmaceutical companies. So they obviously do. He works on the ground with them as well.
He's gonna be working on like making potions and stuff to fix.
Yeah, he at least would have the knowledge of like hiring the right people, even if he's not a chemist by profession or like a pharmacist by profession.
Look, in a way, they didn't want us to succeed, so they kind of let him in prison. Then they wanted. COVID was an inside job, and
no, that's not what we're saying. That's what you're hearing, but that's not what we're saying.
Best superhero was inside a jail, bro.
Okay.
During the COVID times.
Bro. Yeah, amen. There were 2 people I wanted free from prison for the past few years.
Bobby
One,
Shmurda.
Free Bobby Shmurda. 2, free Martin Shkreli.
This link with hip hop that's how I got to know Martin Shkreli.
Oh, the Wu-Tang
The Wu-Tang story, him talking about like, Bobby got finessed, like he shouldn't be in jail.
Yeah.
If I was a lawyer for him, I would fight for his case.
What did Bobby Shmurda do?
Bobby Shmurda murdered someone, bro.
Nah, he did a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
He rapped about it, and then based on honestly similar story to Martin Shkreli.
Yeah.
He went like public about it essentially. So in his lyrics and stuff, he had like, what was the line? Caught a body about a week ago.
So do you remember that song? So yeah, that was like that. They used that as evidence against Bobby Shmurda.
And throughout the whole song, he's saying like this gang member might, like, he would call them like, I can't remember the name. But
the funniest thing is all the people that did the killings are in the video and they're like throwing up gang signs, drinking lean and stuff. It's hilarious, yeah.
And then essentially I think they started investigating based on that. And then he ended up getting...
Is he in for a bit or...?
He just got released as well.
Last year.
Yeah.
How come after a murder you get released so fast?
They found like inconsistencies with how they put him to jail. I think that's what he got out on. I'm not sure. But Martin Shkreli did the same thing. He sent out a tweet or a Facebook status about Hillary Clinton that if someone can get me a strand of hair of Hillary Clinton, I'm going to do something with it or whatever. And then in court, they use that as evidence that you're inciting violence against
people,
elected official, and you should go to jail. So that plus him else, being hated on already, him potentially doing securities fraud, they were like, okay, this guy is no good to anyone, send him to jail.
So it wasn't actually the price hike that got him in jail.
Yeah,
it was just that all eyes were on him. They conducted a federal investigation.
Apparently he was calling out FBI.
He was what?
Calling out FBI.
I don't know. I remember him being called by the FBI.
No, him calling out, like he was calling them like names and stuff, mean stuff.
Well, that's how I got on the radar when he started going after Wu-Tang. So what he did was Wu-Tang had this album, which they said like, oh, it's going to be like an art piece. You know how like certain artists, they make like an art piece.
Like Prince would just release it.
Yeah, and then it's like,
unreleased.
This is exclusive. No one's going to release it. We're going to put it on for auction, and whoever buys it, buys it.
And the money proceeds went to charity. They didn't actually even go to Wu-Tang.
And then Martin Shkreli ended up buying it.
What if like $1 million or $3 million or some shit?
$2 million.
And then he got into arguments with all the members of the Wu-Tang clan because
like at the time he was the most hated man. So like we didn't like, we wouldn't have, like, we don't want you to enjoy
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then he started going after Ghostface Killer. He went on a Breakfast Club interview. He's like, oh, if Ghostface Killer was here, I'll smack him right now. That type of thing. And Wu-Tang Clan is like nothing to be messed with. That's their tagline. Okay, so these are like hard men, and he's going after all of them, bro.
Bro, and he posts a YouTube video, right? I think through TMZ or some shit.
That's what
it's him like scrawny ass Martin. He's got 3 big goons behind him with like masks and dark clothes, and then he's saying like, what's his? He calls him by his legal name. He doesn't call him Ghostface.
Daniel or whatever, like whatever his legal name.
Daniel, I'm calling you by your legal name.
Yeah.
And then the guy in the behind's like, yeah.
So he just knows how to work the internet.
The funniest sight, man.
I get like if you want to make an image out of yourself, I think you garner more attention if people hate you. Because when people hate you, they watch even more intently to find reasons they hate you. So I think we should do this.
So my whole stick about Martin is that ethically, him raising that price, he actually did nothing wrong.
Ethically,
and ethically, morally, and the reason
I don't think so. You can put ethics and morals when you're talking about capitalism.
No, I'll explain.
Capitalistically, he did nothing wrong. Ethically, I think
I'll explain to you why. Yeah. Like in terms of like if you're one of those people that are like, oh, you shouldn't kill rats and stuff, or sure, but in terms of just hiking the price, I don't think there was anything morally wrong, which is why I stand by him so much. And this is what's missed by mainstream media.
No, what's the reason though?
Yeah, so I'll go into it. So the first thing he states is that he raises the price, right? It's going to be, the price is absorbed by insurance. The individual is not actually paying for the medicine.
But the insurance premium will go up.
No, exactly. But the cost is going to be passed on somehow.
So that's the common
misconception.
No, that's the common rebuttal. Yeah. So essentially, as we were saying, like toxoplasmosis is a very small subsection of the population. Furthermore, the people with insurance doesn't encapsulate the whole sample or population that have toxic plasmosis, whatever it's called. So essentially, the insurances will absorb it. It's not going to raise premiums because, insurance is like multi-billion, like it's a massive industry. And the small population size of that patient isn't going to, it's a speck in it. It's like it's a drop in an ocean to the entire insurance industry. So it's not going to raise premiums. They're going to carry it on the insurance companies. It doesn't affect the individual. And then people might go, oh, okay, but what about the uninsured? Because the uninsured, obviously, they can't get it through insurance. They're going to be paying these prices.
Out of pocket,
out of pocket. But Martin's stated several times, and the reason why I believe him, I'll go into as well. He stated several times that
if someone can't afford it, they can get it for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to your GP. They'll get in contact with like the company or whatever, and you can get it for free. Like we'll give it to you for free.
Yeah.
Yada yada yada. And so that could be.
I just like whenever I hear people from that industry, I'm not gonna take their word for it because I know there's gonna be other loopholes there which don't make it as easy.
So that's you could easily say it's a false claim. I don't believe it. The reason why I believe it was because he was the most hated man in America, because he was the one person the media shat on consistently, completely. They would have done anything to get a story on him. Not once have I ever come across an interview from a patient saying that they couldn't get
they couldn't afford it.
Yeah. And you'd think the media would be hounding to find these people, because if they get a legitimate story from a person who has toxic plasmosis who is unable to get the drug, they would have 100% like pushed that through the media.
And a good example of it is like insulin prices in America. Those are like out of proportionally high. People can't afford it. People are having to go to the black market to get that. And there is no figurehead like Martin Shkreli to go after. Yeah. So no one knows who to go after in getting insulin prices regulated or to an extent where people can afford it. So I get your point in that sense,
So that's why I strongly believe that he actually didn't screw anyone over by doing that.
Like a Robin Hood.
Yeah. He is the person that like exposed the failings of the pharmaceutical industry. Yeah. But he's part of it still. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
So the other issue is he set a precedent for other companies were already doing it at the time, and they've probably been doing it for a long time. Yeah. Like they get a monopoly on the drug because the barrier to entry for a drug or a pharmaceutical company is so high, because you need FDA approval, you need to do R&D, you need to make sure it's ethical, safe, etc., etc. And that costs a lot of money, a lot of investment.
Yeah. Have you heard of Mark Cuban's initiative regarding the whole thing?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was bullshit though. Martin Shkreli went into it. I don't quite remember exactly why, but I don't think it was particularly good. Mark Cuban's thing was earlier last year, I believe. Yeah,
because apparently he makes a lot of expensive drugs
a lot cheaper.
And Reddit seem to be loving it because a lot of people are relying on Mark Cuban's initiative for generic
Mark Cuban's a generally loved guy as well. So like, I think people would take his word rather than Martin Shkreli's word any day. So but the thing is like, one of the things is within the pharmaceutical industry, and something Martin Shkreli has exposed, other people have exposed as well, is the fact that they spend more on marketing their drugs. So in America, you're allowed to show TV ads on about drugs. Like in Australia, we're not allowed to.
Yeah, but what exactly can...
They spend more money on marketing to people, saying, oh, get this drug, it will fix your this issue, that issue, hair loss, whatever. They promote those things, or they're more convinced by like drugs than therapy. Mm-hmm. So if something can be cured with therapy, in America, they promote the drug more than they promote the therapy.
And it's an issue as well, because they have what are they called, pharmaceutical sales, where like I can't remember the exact role, but it's basically pharmaceutical sales where they literally have a person come in, and I've seen it when I've worked in health as well. They have a drug rep, that's a good word, drug rep
I know
that comes in and tells the doctor, we've got these new drugs, blah blah, they're safe, they're effective, this is a quick rundown of how good they are and why it's different to other drugs, blah blah. And the doctor will push that drug onto the patients. And then I think in some cases, I'm not sure if it's regular or not, but they'll also get kickbacks. They'll get like a form of commission as well.
And then they're spending more money in those type of things rather than on research and development or like testing and making sure these drugs are, right to be used. That's why people threw a big fuss about like how quickly they got the COVID vaccine through. Yeah. But then you get into like legal loopholes and stuff like that, and like I don't want to go down that path anyway. So like that's why people had an issue, like how quickly you were able to get this drug across. Is it even safe? That's why people had so many resentments against it.
And specifically with Martin Shkreli's drug, he said if we bought this drug and we continued to sell it for $13 or $7 or whatever it was, I think it was $13. If we continue to sell it for $13, it's not profitable. We're losing money if we continue to do this. And so that's why like he raised the prices. No individual or person that's got toxic plasmosis were going to be screwed over by it, based on what he said and my belief. And then they would get profits. He'd put that back into R&D to get a more effective, more safe drug for those patients.
Getting back into R&D.
Yeah. That's what he said. Obviously, I can't tell you if he actually did that or not.
You're kind of talking about everyone knows this guy.
No, they do. they would. If they don't,
I don't think people remember him though, because this was in 2017 or something.
He was like the most hated guy in America, at least, on the internet. Everyone hated him. So in 2017, that was the case. I was just trying to think, like, is there a comparable person for him to now And the only logical answer would be Andrew Tate would be close because
maybe in terms of like internet persona, but Andrew Tate is controversial for completely different reasons.
Yeah, like Martin Shkreli, but the thing is like he's committed like white collar crime.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's easier to come back into the public eye when you commit white collar crime rather than when you commit like a blue collar crime. Do you know the difference between white collar crime? White collar crime will be like insider trading, anything financial related, fraud, like financial fraud and stuff like that. Collar? And blue collar crime will be like, murder, burglary, stuff like that. It's easier to come back from a white collar crime. Sure. He was in jail for how many years, Martin Shkreli?
About 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, imagine like if someone had been to jail for 5 years, comes back and just becomes like a regular part of society.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Martin Shkreli, with him, the thing is like I think he loves being hated in a way.
Yeah, I think he
thrives in it in a way.
He loved his like time in the spotlight.
Yeah.
Like he would go on interviews, he would meme the shit out of everything. Like he loved it.
So I read it in a Reddit comment. He wasn't a really high intelligent guy. He wasn't exceptionally excellent in academics. So he, as a kid, he was bullied pretty much.
No, I wouldn't he might not be academically, but he's like street smart. He knows what he's doing. He's not like some dumb kid. At 17, he was working for a hedge fund and stuff.
He's academically smart as well. Maybe not when he was a kid, I don't know, but if you look on his YouTube, like he across like every like tech or STEM field, chemistry tutorials, like advanced chemistry. He does coding, obviously pharmaceuticals and everything as well.
Crypto now.
Investments, stocks, crypto. Like he is like on the ball with a lot of things.
I think the people see his videos where like he's talking like praising Harambe, rest in peace Harambe, that kind of stuff, and they're like, oh bro, this is guy like some troll of Reddit or 4chan.
So,
but then he's the perfect combination of like knowing how to troll people to get the right amount of attention, at the same time be smart enough to not to know what he's talking about as well.
He is the embodiment of 4chan.
Yeah.
Like only a 4chan person.
He looks like a guy you would like, if you had to make a mascot for 4chan, it would be Martin Shkreli in a way.
Only he would go on a national news network and start crying about, like, not crying, but like rip Harambe, RIP. Yeah. The interviewer literally said, will you stop memeing for a second?
And then he just like kept going, and it's like, no, I take this to heart. It's a very serious thing I'm talking about here. So yeah, he's just one of those guys that knows. Like if you try to compare him, if you look at it from a perspective of Trump knew that the more hatred he would generate for himself, the more popular he will be, and the more like eyes will be on him. And then he thrived in it. It's not for everyone. Like not everyone's going to be able to do it. I don't think so. If people hated us as much as Trump for doing something, we would be able to like, go with it. We will break down at a certain point. Kanye West, same thing. Like he just says whatever gets him the most attention. And Martin Shkreli was that guy for a period. I don't know what he does now. What is he up to now?
I think he's just, I don't know exactly. Like I'm assuming he's trying to get back into business and stuff. I don't exactly know what he does because I think
I know he streams a lot.
Yeah, he streams a lot.
Like
he's on Twitter a lot. No. Like he just streams. It's not Twitch or anything. He just streams himself. Yeah.
He just puts his videos on
Twitter,
YouTube and then he goes on podcast runs. So like people can invite him. I know you tried to message him once. Did he reply to you?
No, he didn't. I don't know what I think about that. I'm trying to think if I did message him or not.
Or if you haven't, like you can, since you're his number one fan.
I'll send him out, like number one fan in Australia at least. At least.
Yeah. So like he does, like he's made a career out of for himself, like just like sharing his knowledge at the same time being like a troll.
Yeah. The really cool thing is like he would have all these chemistry classes and blah blah on his YouTube because especially when he was the most hated man is when he used to do this the most. And he would also invite people to chat with him and to challenge his views and blah, blah, blah. And then he'd always shut them down.
There's like very few people who are like can back it up as well. Like they do the trolling and then they back it up. Like Andrew Tate, that's why I think people, like when he goes on random podcasts and they try to like, make him falter or like make him say something wrong, he's always smart enough to like, just get out of it because he has the charisma in a way on his side to like get out.
Orator, whatever he like every time.
Narrator, yeah.
Or orator, like
orator.
Like, you can't compete with him like orally. Like he will shut you down somehow.
Yesterday, me and my friend were arguing about Andrew Tate. Yep.
Yeah.
And a kind of heated debate, and I was trying to leaning towards Andrew Tate in certain aspect. And then he started asking me hard-hitting questions, and I was like, no, maybe he does make a point.
Yeah.
But then when I look at Andrew Tate's video, I'm reinforced with my beliefs.
Yeah.
And when I was trying to show my friend, he was like, no, I'm not having this. But
if you had to put someone up against Andrew Tate, like most people he debates are like podcasters and like random people who don't know orally can't compete with him. If you had to put up someone intellectual alongside Andrew Tate and say,
Piers Morgan, like,
no, Piers Morgan is not an intellect, bro.
But he's a good talker.
Yeah,
like he knows how to.
He can nitpick things, but like he can ask the right questions. Piers Morgan, I'll give him that. But he's not gonna argue with him intellectually and counteract.
Okay, that I agree with. But like for sometimes, like I don't know the English word for like. I don't know if you can translate it for viewers.
Yeah.
Chutiya ko chutiya kaatta hai. So.
What is that?
You know what the word means, right?
Is it like mother?
Only a dickhead can solve a dickhead. Like
Like that's the best way to put it. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
So like you can't be reasonable with some people.
Yeah.
So with Andrew Tate, I think
you need someone unreasonable to put it again.
Right,
and then Piers Morgan, you're saying is the
was like
right
up
person.
there, I think. And he put Piers Morgan in place, and now they're good friends now.
Okay. Like people say like, oh, I would love to hear a debate between Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate.
But Jordan Peterson just annoys me now. He looks like sad, angry
Wouldn't their
man.
views be quite aligned? Like they're both quite conservative.
Maybe, yeah. Like, if you want to pit it against like two opposing sides, I don't know who that person is.
Yeah, I don't
Jordan
know who
Peterson, I don't think convinces anyone anymore. Now he's just sad, angry.
No, I think when he went through his like whatever depressive state he went to, since he's come back, he's not the same like guy.
Yeah.
Before he was like. Before Andrew Tate, it was Jordan Peterson. Everyone every second video on TikTok and Instagram was him. And then he created like a buzz around him. And now it's not the same anymore. Bro, I really want to know who could compete against Andrew Tate in like a shit-talking type scenario.
He's a good fighter, rich guy.
No, you're not gonna fight anyone.
I think there is a charisma behind it. Like
say where Andrew Tate went on Joe Rogan. Would you want to hear that?
I would want to hear that.
Yeah, but Joe Rogan would be similar to Piers Morgan, but slightly opposite. Like he would just ask the right questions, but wouldn't.
Joe Rogan listens to it.
Listens more so than
like
argues.
Like he asks thought-provoking questions.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah, let's figure out like.
But I think Andrew Tate's got the best things going for him. Like, I think intimidation can be a factor.
Yeah.
Andrew Tate's physically intimidating, mafia connections or whatever, and now he's bald, rich, tall. So he's got everything. Like, some people you can impose, like, I'm bigger than you, I can fuck you up. You can't do that with Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
And then he's obviously got Muslims supporting him.
Bro, it was actually so funny. My older brother showed me a tweet from Tristan Tate the other day, and it was while we've been in prison, my brother has received thousands of
Muslims
of mails from Muslims.
Emails as in support.
Yeah. It's like thousands of mail, I think mail, like physical mail.
Yeah.
Thousands of mail in support for him.
Yeah.
I'm Christian. I've received nothing. It's just funny how like
because
Muslims envelop like celebrities.
Because he went like what's that? Muhammad Hijab. He went on his podcast. He's spoken to like a lot of them, and I don't think so. Yeah, we Muslims like really care about like the controversial stuff he said. We're just like fixated on the fact that a popular guy is talking about Islam, so let's just support him for whatever reason.
I think we generally are more supportive than
we don't have any vetting, is what I'm saying, about like who we're choosing as a figure for us. Like we just he's the most popular. Let's just like we look at Cristiano.
About it's a Pakistani drama.
Yeah.
And there was this girl because in dramas sometimes you read books.
Yeah.
She's reading Mein Kampf.
Mein
Kampf.
Yeah.
Which is like Hitler's biography, and she was smiling and just being happy.
And it's become a meme. I don't know if they're leaning into the fact that this could make us popular on the internet, and they just like give this girl a Mein Kampf book to read on a drama, and then it's just become like everyone's captured it. In India, it's become a big thing. They like sharing that one meme a lot of times.
So I was on Reddit just to find something similar.
Yeah.
And there's a shop in Karachi. It's a dressing like a local shopping mall.
Mm-hmm.
Male dressing shop.
Yeah.
Hitler Reloaded.
Hitler Reloaded.
I'll send it to you so you can maybe put it on.
Yeah, no worries, bro. Anyway, it's the complete opposite for Martin Shkreli. Like what we're talking about Andrew Tate, Martin Shkreli is like in figure, the way he looks, complete opposite.
The thing with Martin Shkreli is he doesn't have the charisma. He has a very punchable face, And he's just like a scrawny, like he's just a scrawny, skinny guy, you know.
For the longest time, I actually thought he was Tobey Maguire, the guy who plays Spider-Man.
It kind of like
and then I was like, I thought it's a character Tobey Maguire's playing.
Like this intentionally, I think he just is putting a facade on.
Martin Shkreli.
Yeah, because he just sits like hunched, head like.
No, bro, that's what happens when you're on Reddit and 4chan commenting all the time. That just becomes your posture.
So you know how much was he worth in his peak? 70 million USD.
Yeah, that's the thing. He was like back in 2017. I think it was mid to early 30s, right? And at that level, he grew up. He had two parents, immigrants from Albania, both janitors. He grew up from a very like low socioeconomic background.
Yeah.
Which is potentially why he wasn't that smart as a kid.
I can tell how much you love Martin Shkreli. Okay, final question. Do you think you love Martin Shkreli more than his own mum?
No.
No, okay.
You
can't beat a mum's love.
You can't beat a mum's mother.
Okay,
like she pushed him out
into the world. You haven't done the same.
I haven't done, I mean, I wish I could have.
You've watched his videos. You watch his streams every now and then, but yeah.
I can't physically do that.
I can tell how much he loves him because he very rarely talks at length about people or like things that it's Washington Wizards, Martin Shkreli maybe, and I don't know anything else at this stage.
A bit of
I've never even heard him talk about his wife this much. So like, so you can tell how much he loves him.
No, but I from like a year ago, I've been wanting to do this episode.
Yeah.
Because I've loved him. And like, I've always, in my like friends high school group chat, I've always invited people to challenge me.
And we finally ran out of topics, so.
Yeah, we had to talk about this.
You had to talk about it. I always invited people to challenge me.
The thing is, you have put the time and effort into reading up on his background. Most people will just see him memeing around Bay and stuff like that. So they're not gonna love him as much.
That's the positive. That's like the extra stuff that like maybe lured me in. I watched his interviews and stuff and heard some of his stuff.
Fair enough. Martin Shkreli, this is a shout out to you. If you want to ever come on the Trash Talk Experience, we're a very small podcast, but then you have your number one fan sitting here for you. Message him on Instagram, see what he says.
I'll say, Martin,
you can do it through the official Trash Talk Experience account.
I wished I pushed you through my vagina, but unfortunately I didn't. But this is the next best thing.
This is the next best thing. Anyway, but this has been another episode of Trash Talk Experience. Rest in peace, Harambe, again. And we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.